begin, we got to talk a little bit about the past and what's really going on here. You know, when I was here last, and I was actually asking the people at this conference, you know, when was it? Was it 2005, 2006? Because it feels like those years went by so quickly. They went by in a blink of an eye. And then the last 12, 18 months, all of a sudden things started taking a little bit longer. So it was difficult to get a grasp of even when it was. But I believe it was 2006. And it was a very different world. It was something that was just incredible. I mean, coming here to this conference, I remember about 10 minutes before I got up on stage, people were grabbing me, you have to come see the project that I'm developing. You have to come look at what we're talking about. You have to see this. And I recall one project because it just stuck in my mind so very clearly because it may have been, you know, the great example of excess in some of the craziness that we saw in development, not just in this region, but all over the world. And I remember going, and this gentleman, incredibly friendly, said, "Mr. Trump, I'd love to show you around. I'd love to show you my project." So we come around the corner to see his project. And this was a booth, and he was talking about how much money he had spent on the booth. And it was, you know, $10 or $12 million for a 3-day show. So I mean, that in my mind was just an incredible thing when you think about the potential salvage value of even some of these things for a 3-day show. And I remember turning the corner in this thing, because again, it was a huge, huge, huge display. And I was there, and there were 3 life-size Tyrannosaurus Rex, almost robotic, painted real. I asked him, and he was so proud of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, dinosaurs that were in this display. And I asked, "Wow, what is, you know, explain the dinosaurs?" He's like, "Well, no, it's amazing. We spent a few $1 million for these dinosaurs." And I said, "That's incredible. Explain it to me. I don't get it." And he looked at me as though I was crazy, you know, as though I had no understanding of real estate. And I was looking to him saying, "Listen, you asked me to see this, so I assume that you assume that I know at least a little bit about real estate." And he looked at me, again, as though I had no concept of what was going on. And he said, "Well, the story with the dinosaurs is that children love dinosaurs." Okay? My natural response was, "Do children buy real estate?" And again, he looked at me as though I was an idiot. Maybe I was. I don't know. Maybe I missed it. I'm sure there's things I've missed before. And that was it. It was just, okay, it was the end of the conversation. And it was just a perfect example, and perhaps something I really took away from that moment. I said, wow. I mean, some people have perhaps just taken it too far of an extreme. And it was just something that stuck in my head. Now, with the world, much like the Trump brand and the Trump name, and it has perhaps that same resonance, the illusion of, you know, grandeur and opulence and everything like that. Well, that's great when the media was phenomenal, and that's part of why it got so much of the attention that it did. But it's also why when something goes wrong, you know, when something goes wrong in a Trump project, when something goes wrong in Dubai, everyone wants to try to kill you. Because it's very easy to go after the guy who came out of nowhere, who's up on top, who's doing incredible things. So, you know, I think it's really been unjustly criticized and unjustly harsh in terms of the way that Dubai has been treated. And I think when things do finally flash out and when things normalize, Dubai is going to be in a much greater position than what a lot of the people around the world truly believe.